Hi there, this is Dr. Shvetambara Sabharwal, and today I want to speak to you about anxiety. Very interesting emotion, universal emotion, equally misunderstood by a lot of us, and that's why I'm back here talking to you about this, hoping to dispel some myths. One of the things that I want us to really focus on is that we very quickly judge anxiety and a lot of other emotions such as disappointment or sadness, annoyance or irritation as a bad thing, as a negative emotion. And that is one of the first myths that I want to dispel, that anxiety is not bad. Anxiety, in fact, is an emotion that we are meant to feel. It helps us survive. Anxiety is an emotion that we're supposed to feel to be able to stay safe, to be able to take a judgment of hazards and save ourselves. Anxiety also helps us prepare, so it makes us functional. If I have a presentation or a webinar, I make sure I put my head into some research, make a great presentation, and prepare towards it, so it makes me do better. Anxiety also helps us identify what is important for us. What are the things that we want to care about and do better in. Anxiety is thus not a negative emotion. Then why does it start bothering us so much? When does it start to become an experience where we need to start seeking help and reduce some of that? So on the one hand, anxiety is preparing us for action. It's making us take productive action. It increases performance. It helps us survive. Everyone feels it. Everyone's experiencing it. Then what is the problem with anxiety? What we need to understand is that anxiety can be two types. One is functional, which I just described, and the other is dysfunctional. This is when over and above concern, worry, and anxiety, we start to experience this emotion in such intensity and extremes that we are not able to function in our daily life. This is the best way to understand when you need to do something about alleviating some of your symptoms, reducing anxiety and coping with it by getting into therapy or some other kind of help. How can we tell that it's dysfunctional? Well, when it starts to interfere with your sleep, your appetite, working, parenting, cooking, intimacy, partying, anything that is a part of your routine, and anxiety interferes with it. For example, if you're feeling anxious before going out to meet friends, you're feeling anxious before going to work or before having to make a presentation, you're feeling anxious before your child has to give an exam. So while they sound very normal, if these are interfering with the performance of those actions, carrying out those actions such that you're not able to function, you're not able to indulge in productive action, not able to get out of bed, not able to sleep, not able to eat, or eating too much, that is when we say that anxiety is dysfunctional and needs intervention. The other way to tell that there is dysfunctional anxiety is when you're actually perceiving danger despite being quite safe. And this is a very relevant one for the current case scenario when a lot of people are experiencing fear of COVID-19, while it is extremely valid because there is this ongoing pandemic, but people are reporting panic attacks and extreme anxiety, sitting safely in the house, getting themselves repeatedly tested, not being able to function, not being able to sleep, not being able to manage their daily routine at all. And this is something that is quite debilitating. It's very, very intrusive and interfering in daily functioning and can lead to several cognitive and somatic symptoms. Now, here's something simple I want to leave you with today. Now, there are various ways of treating anxiety. There are also subjective needs and thoughts that need to be dealt with. But there is one core thought I want to leave you with today, and maybe follow up with few more videos on how to deal with anxiety. The one that I want to talk to you about today is that the core issue from where anxiety arises is our need to control things. We want to control that we shouldn't fall sick. We want to control how our bosses are thinking of us. We want to control how our family is thinking of us. We want to control our future. We want to control the future of our children. We want to control the decisions that our schools are making for our children. And yes, none of these are completely invalid. They can be genuine concerns. But when we have a demand to control them, what we'll end up experiencing is helplessness, because we cannot control others and the outside. We are not meant to have control over every aspect of our life. This is that one giant pill. If we can swallow, be mindful of it. Remind yourself on a daily basis that I am going to focus on what I can do today and what I can change today. I am going to focus on what contribution I want to make towards my life today. I'm going to try and focus on what I can do and not others. To a large extent, you could reduce your symptoms of anxiety. This is not a treatment. This is just a direction that I want to point you into, so that you start thinking about this, you start identifying the irrationality in your mental chatter, in your self-dialogue or self-talk, where you're constantly trying to control and you're constantly trying to seek perfection when it comes to you and your future. So whether it is health, finance, career, children, relationships, friends, beauty and body image, success and achievement, desire is not a problem at all. Because when you desire, you will be able to handle the disappointment. When you desire, you will be motivated, you will be concerned, and you will perform. Remember, I spoke to you about functional anxiety, so that will keep you functional. But the minute you start demanding and wanting to control, it will head you into the direction of dysfunctionality. I hope this helps, and I do hope to follow this up with a few more videos on how you can cope with anxiety. Thank you for listening.